Hell yeah. All right, we made it. Here we go again.
Back
we made
in
it
the saddle.
We're still here. We made it to episode 2.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, y'all. So thanks for tuning in to Dixieland the Proletariat again. We're here to talk about Southern working class history through a leftist perspective. Make sure you like us on social media at Dixieland the Proletariat or Dixie Prol. And if you want to give your wages to a bunch of rednecks, then subscribe to our Patreon page at patreon.com/DixieProl. We got a lot of cool stuff, including the random hillbilly shit and the artwork. Already gave away a CD and some stickers because we got 2 Patreon subscribers now. The podcast is still brought to you by Newport 100s in a box, Camel Silver's black coffee. And Tyler, what are you drinking today?
Today I am drinking a 0-calorie energy drink called Rain.
God, that sounds horrible. I got sugar-free purple Powerade. It's probably gonna give me cancer. And Will's drinking what do they call bourgeoisie tears? Water. Water. I get the good water from good Soviet springs.
Not trying to give a brand shout out.
Speaking of shout outs, shout out again to Cameron Camp, who was our first subscriber, and my boy William Canant, who is our second Patreon subscriber. So we got 2 people that actually want to give us money for this, whatever the hell this is.
We'll use it wisely.
What about the fuck boy?
He never messaged me back.
No.
Oh, that guy. Yeah. Hold on. I got the screenshots.
Yeah, we got to shout him out.
Dude, we got to shout this asshole out. Hold on.
Fake suicide boy.
Looking ass, yeah. Hold on. I got way too many screenshots. Hold on. I can't believe Alabama's in 5th place. That's just bullshit.
All right,
Did you guys watch it?
What?
Did you watch the game?
Which game? Hell yeah.
Yeah,
hell
Alabama
yeah.
LSU game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about the fucking...
And this will be coming out hopefully on Sunday, right after Auburn gets through thumping a very weak-looking Georgia.
Oh, Lord. I don't know about that. I can't believe... I totally forgot Auburn almost beat LSU. How does Auburn lose to LSU 23-20, but Alabama loses by 6?
Auburn's defense is fantastic and just wasted on this, this year. It's just happened to be you got a young quarterback. But man, Joe Burrow has played lights out. Just a tough as nails dude.
Yeah, he's thick.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh my God, where is it? Hold on. When did this happen?
Well, hey, just don't worry about it. You know who you are. Fuck you.
Oh no, the dude who posted the picture of Bernie Sanders and the aliens.
Yeah, yeah.
Like what? Oh, here
he's got like an anarchy sign tattooed on his chest or something like that.
It's Leon Burns.
Shout out,
dude. Fucking when I did like your worth is more than your productivity, whatnot. He's like, it isn't a socialist society. ... And he's like, oh my God, what did he say? Oh yeah, the new everyone loved that the new Southerner leaving the old South racist shit behind, and he was like, he's leaving the Democratic Party, a descendants of CSA socialists, CSA soldiers and racist rednecks.
Oh, he said the CSA was socialist.
Yeah, that
was funny shit.
No, the best one. Oh, and he's like, my father voted for Obama to help destroy this country so the South could rise again. And about the Klan. Oh no, okay. So when my friend David posted the video about them burning the Confederate flag because they burned it in his backyard after a house show they had, and he was like, "Y'all hate the Democratic Socialist flag." I'm like, well, dude, what fucking hot take do you have to think that I've started to piss them off because I actually call it the battle flag of Northern Virginia because I like the main fucking thing. They're like, it's not the Confederate flag. Oh, it's technically the battle flag of the Army of Northern Virginia. So I just straight up be like, okay, I know. So I'm going to call it the battle flag of the Army of Northern Virginia to take away like 90% of your bullshit that you're going to say because of it.
I just call it the Skinnerd flag.
I know there's a lot of controversy around Confederate monument removal, but the only Confederate that deserves a monument is the cockeyed cousin fucker that shot Stonewall Jackson.
And what's going to go on the monument?
It's some sort of damn Yankee trick.
Fire! That guy should have gotten the fucking Medal of Honor.
R.I.P.
Trigger discipline.
Trigger discipline. It's some sort of damn Yankee trip. Fire.
We'll talk about it later, but Lee is so overrated.
Oh, dude,
as
we're
a general.
doing a massive like 4-part series.
Speaking of that, like
we
I
had
did a little tour of Atlanta.
oh yeah, you burned
You burn it down.
Did you like the
Yeah.
John Brown picture I made of you?
The more vodka I got in me, the more I found myself whistling, marching through Georgia.
Oh my god. Did you like the John Brown
Yes.
thing I made of
Yes.
you? Dude, the head fit perfectly on your body. It was fucking crazy.
It's so funny that they give John Brown his own quarter now. Like
And-
his own. He's on the state quarter for Virginia. They got a John Brown quarter.
Holy shit, yes.
Like,
and
damn,
then,
y'all killed him.
I'm so ready for like. Are we still getting the Tubman?
No, they delayed that. I wonder why.
I wanted to pull up
Yeah.
to the fucking weed man and be like, "Yo, let me get a tub."
Oh man. Yeah.
All
They're
right.
supposed to replace Andrew Jackson, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Undo Commander Führer Jackson, that fucking racist asshole.
All right.
Anyway,
so,
speaking of Andrew Jackson. Oh no, actually we're gonna talk about you guys are gonna talk about Sturgill,
yeah,
right?
yeah, or just
No,
That
you know,
Sturgill Simpson anime.
The
No,
Sturgill
that shit
yeah,
looks
that
dope.
shit's awesome.
Yeah.
You guys talk. I haven't
I've-
seen it, so
I've
tell me
seen
about
it.
it.
it's great. It's like the cyber tonk wall. You know,
No, it's good. It's weird, man. I mean, you see people from on the YouTube comments or whatever saying like,
I mean, YouTube comment sections are already weird, so I could even imagine like, you throw fucking psychedelics.
I've
in the
never
mix.
thought I was into country music, but it's a bunch of it's the weird cross section of weebs and country music fans.
yeah, like it's like what country music would sound like in space.
Space, right? I mean,
So
Space
is this Cowboy
already a thing.
Bebop? Is this what you're talking about?
No,
in
no,
space, no one can hear you.
It's
Yeehaw.
called Sound and Fury.
Yeah,
In space, no one can hear you. Yeehaw.
go check it out. And Sturgill Simpson recently posted something on his Instagram telling people, was like, "Hey, go steal my album."
Oh yeah. Who puts it out? RCA. And then like some under label or whatever.
I think it
Some
is
umbrella.
RCA.
You could probably get it on SoulSeek. You'd go to slsk.com. It's a peer-to-peer network.
LimeWire.
Can't give your computer fucking some. I don't even know.
That's how I get all my music.
Oh my god.
And they keep going the
I
way of
remember.
this. They keep going the way of this Disney releasing its own
Oh, yeah,
streaming
it is,
channel.
yeah.
They're just rebuilding cable.
Yeah.
Basically,
I'm
it's like
but
all these
I've got-
Start
I've got-
stealing again.
I've got Verizon Unlimited, so I've got free Disney Plus for
Dude,
it.
Verizon's probably the only thing you got out there, right? That actually has service.
Yeah, or Nextel. I just don't know where to buy a Nextel phone.
Fucking remember how everyone thought the fucking Nextel like Southern Link, like walkie-talkie phones are gonna be the next fucking.
I wish
thing?
there was some kind of program on my phone where I could get it to still do that. I like the Nextel chirp.
That was.
That-
I like
They've-
people knowing that people are talking to
They've
me.
got an app called Boxer, and it pretty much turns your phone into a fucking walkie-talkie.
What did you say, Will?
I like people to know that people are talking to me.
No, I remember being like 10 and hearing that for the first time. But hey man, you there? I'm like, what the fuck, dude?
It's a working man's phone. That's true.
It is a. It's the phone of the proletariat.
10-4.
Hey man, shitbox went out. I need a ride.
That's the only one I know is 10-4.
That's a Texas size 10 for there, buddy.
Over and out.
Over and out. Roll damn tide.
Right, but about Andrew Jackson.
Okay, so yeah, we're gonna. So today's
Andrew
episode,
Jackson Jihad. This is a music.
Yeah, I was thinking of
podcast.
calling it that. I was thinking of calling the episode that, but I don't think the band would care. I don't know. I still kind of feel weird like saying that name, like how they.
That's
I
the
don't know.
first I've heard. I don't like it.
No, I mean like it's an actual like I don't know what their genre. They came to Birmingham and everyone's like, we're gonna go see AJJ. I'm like, what's that? And he's like Andrew Jackson Jihad. I was like, this does not
Indie
sit well.
Type fucking
It just doesn't. That whole name just doesn't sit well. I don't know.
music for people with cardigans.
I was thinking of like trying to find a picture of like Andrew Jackson like dressed up as a Nazi, just like to piss off people that actually like Andrew Jackson.
Who
but then
likes
again,
Andrew? Nobody
that's the
but
thing though.
racists
That's the
actively
thing
know
though. Yeah, that's the thing though. The overlap of people who like
in history
like
teachers.
Andrew Jackson are also probably Nazis too.
Yeah.
So they probably be like, oh yeah, Andrew Jackson's a Nazi. And it's just
Also,
like,
probably like John Wayne.
Oh, John Wayne was a Nazi. Dude, he's so fucking... Did you ever watch that quote? Did you ever read that quote that fucking about John Wayne? Fucking, the superiority of the white man needs to be in blah, 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 blah. I'm like, yes, Jesus. Like, I wish he would have died on one of his sets. But like, let's go home, darling, and then fucking just collapse of a heart attack like right there. Anyway, fuck it.
John Wayne westerns suck. People out there like, oh, I'm into westerns. And they're like, oh, like John Wayne? No, never. It's
stop.
always spaghetti westerns.
Exactly. Good, the bad, the ugly, etc.
The Italians do it better. They copy it straight off the Japanese.
Yeah. That's
You know, and talking about Sturgill Simpson, that's the origin of that shit. Is the westerns that the good, the bad, and the ugly is just a recut of.
oh yeah. What's the fucking name?
Kurosawa.
Yeah. Have you seen that?
Yeah. Yojimbo is
Yeah.
What's it called?
Yojimbo is pretty much like the same thing as fucking the good, the bad, the ugly. Same plot.
I have
and all
no
that.
idea what they're talking about too. So y'all at home,
We'll do it one day.
Company.
We'll do a western movie review.
Don't worry,
And
Nelson.
there's
We'll talk
one
about
western I'd
Goodfellas
love to.
eventually.
Yo, actually, nah. Could we? How would Italians fit into like?
They bust. I mean, they ran the unions.
Mussolini.
Oh, did you see the soccer fans that were like so?
Lazio is shit.
Lazio, right? So they were
Yeah.
playing the Celtic Football Club, right?
Yeah, Celtic.
Celtic. Sorry, or is it? No, I thought it was.
No, it's Celtic.
Okay. So anyway, and it's Celtics versus who's the Rangers are the other ones.
Well, it's just Celtic.
I know, but shut up. So anyway, they wouldn't let anyone bring in anti-fascist banners in general because they knew they were going to be anti-fascist banners. So like they start fucking just standing on their like upside down doing handstands while people holding them. It's fucking making fun of Mussolini. The one fucking player did it too. It was hilarious.
You know, Celtic is the big left wing club.
Exactly.
And their supporter stands. They have like pro Palestine signs.
They're
all
a
kind of
pro
stuff.
IRA club too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the Rangers supposed to be like the fucking Ulster.
The Rangers are
jackasses.
dog shit. That's why
Yeah,
they got
yeah.
relegated.
Oh, for real? They got
Yeah, yeah,
relegated?
yeah.
Holy shit.
No, they suck. I got into a tizzy with another soccer fan online, and someone called Celtic nonce
You
FC.
literally get in so much fucking shit. Or the shit that you say online.
I got a lot of interest in Scottish football.
Are you
is
still
one of
banned
them.
from Twitter?
No,
You're allowed back
I
on.
made a new account, and then they.
Oh God.
Anyway, y'all. So this episode is going to be about the indigenous peoples of Alabama, the Alabama, Mississippi, and Georgia region. We're talking about
Florida.
and Florida, yeah, the white settler encroachment. We're going to be talking specifically more about. Well, Will's going to hit us with the history of the Creek Nation. I'm going to be doing a battlefield analysis of Horseshoe Bend, and I actually went up to the battle sites in Dadeville, Alabama, about an hour and 30 north of here, and then Tyler's going to hit us with some stuff about the Indian Removal Act, and just go ahead and say if we mispronounce any of these words about indigenous locations, tribes, etc. We're very sorry. We're going to try our best, and we hope to do this justice because it really we learn about it in school. I remember going to Horseshoe Bend with my dad, like when I was younger, and thinking, oh, I wonder what happened. Like this is just like some thing in history. And then as you get older, you realize that like white settlers really, and America in general, like just really, really fucked over the indigenous population
And continue
to fucking do it. So we're gonna kick it off with Brother William is gonna hit us with that knowledge.
So I'm going to mainly talk about the Muskogee people.
Okay.
Who are known as the Creek, called so because of their prominence near waterways in the southeast. So we're talking about Tallapoosa, Coosa, Chattahoochee. What's the other river?
Alabama River, right?
Yeah, a little bit of the Alabama River.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, the Alabama was a tribe of Muskogee. They don't know if it's a Choctaw or a Creek name.
Oh.
And another thing about the names is that, these were recorded. The Muskogee Nation or the Muskogee tribes had interaction between Spanish, French, and English folks who recorded their names written in different ways. So you got three different translations out of history coming at you from a language that probably didn't have the letters to articulate maybe the sounds that were in that native language. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, exactly.
But the Muskogee people are inheritors of the Mississippian culture, which I've always been fascinated with. This is between 900 and 1500 AD in the North America's southeast region, mainly centered along rivers, the Mississippi, and these were the mound builders. You may have heard of Cahokia.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
Was at the time
In
one of the
Alabama
largest.
history, probably did, yeah.
Well, Cahokia is in Missouri.
Oh, okay.
But it's
never
the
mind.
same part of the greater culture.
Okay.
Now, we have like Moundville
We
here.
do, yeah, Moundville, yeah.
And we have mounds and sites here, especially in North Alabama. But the Creeks were the inheritors of this mythology and this kind of tradition, and really from the same branch as the Choctaw. So colonization starts, and British settlers move in from Georgia, and this is maybe the 1700s, the mid 1700s. There's the Yamasee War, which was between a tribe called the Yamasee and British settlers in South Carolina, and some Creeks joined this against the British to pillage, homesteads and farms. Creeks were a very warlike culture. That's how their political system was dominated, was through prowess on the battlefield, and not all Creeks partook in this, but a lot of people saw the opportunity, and with the collapse of culture from the Yamasee, it kind of signaled the end of one tribe and kind of pushed the Creeks into a corner. That was the beginning of the tensions that rose between English and natives. So the thing about Creeks' economy, different from obviously white settlers or whatever, is that they had no concept of private land ownership.
Yeah.
There was communal land, and then you had a plot within the communal land, but if that plot went unused, or if you weren't able to make anything out of it, that could actually be returned and then redistributed among other people, right?
Okay.
And Creek, they had they had this religious system that wasn't so much a theology, but a set of sort of cosmological outlooks and superstitions. And one of them was that it kept the genders really divided. A prominent feature in the religion is balance. So women did the farming work and men were hunters. But a lot of times to white settlers, it looked like when they came by, if they saw men in the village at all, they were just kind of lounging around. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the women were doing all of the agricultural work. And they felt really firmly about this, that it was almost, part of their belief system that men wouldn't do women's work, that you had to keep genders separate in that regard. And excuse me. And it really made it hard for white settlers who wanted to assimilate natives into the American system or whatever, because that required not only a different type of farming, but for men to do the work and to conform to American style gender roles.
The white settlers didn't really know how to do shit. I'm actually I'm reading Settlers as a good white leftist. I'm reading Settlers, the mythology of the white proletariat from Mayflower to modern, and it's basically the beginning is talking about how white settlers were never sufficient, and they had to import the proletarian class when it comes to slaves and the workers, basically, and that the people that came over were completely inefficient and could not sustain themselves, so they just took advantage of the indigenous people that were here, and then later on African slaves. So it's just it's when it comes to farming, it just seems like the fucking white folks that immigrated that stole the land and fucking invaded.
Well, I think by the
no idea
mid
what they're doing.
1700s, after the collapse of the Yamasee, that it just starts an explosion of white settlers that are moving west, and you begin to divide, or the settlers began to divide the Muskogee people between kind of two broader groups based on which side of the Chattahoochee River they're on.
Okay.
So the side that's on the eastern side are called the lower, and the side that's on the western side of the Chattahoochee are called the upper.
Oh, okay. So that's when you get the upper and lower. Okay.
But it's not a real thing between the Creeks. It sort of ends up being the boundary between who is more assimilated into American style culture than the upper Creeks, right?
Okay.
So once the lower creeks began like adopting white ways, one of the things I looked up was slavery. Did they take slaves? Yeah, the lower creeks totally took slaves. At first, the creeks had no like ownership.
I think
had
I
no
looked that up
concept.
too. I think I found that when I was doing research.
They had no concept of like ownership of another person. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah.
And so like slavery under creeks would be more akin to like a tenant farmer where you like work on a piece of land, but you give your, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whatever.
So like sharecropping.
Landlord. Yeah,
Yeah.
like a sharecropper. But there was no like racialized hierarchy because
okay.
early on in Creek history, you could just be black or white or whatever and go join them,
Yeah.
which I thought was pretty nutty. It
Didn't
depended on-
you tell me that later on the leaders that we're talking about, like the leaders of these military factions that come into
they'll
place?
they'll carry their father's names
Like
because
halves- yeah, 'cause
Creek
I-
is a matrilineal system.
What is this guy? His name is. I had no clue. I had to ask you about this because I'm like, what?
Macintosh or
No,
Weatherford?
Weatherford. I was like, what?
Yeah,
But,
Weatherford.
like you said, his father was Scottish. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of these guys, like fathers are Scottish or English, British, whatever, settlers, and their mothers are Creek women.
Okay.
And they are raised among the Creek.
Okay.
And so the Creek fully accept them as.
Is this? I don't want to get into this too deep, but is this like a consensual thing? Like they were actually like parents? Or is this like white settlers coming in doing?
I mean, it seemed to be sort of, depending on the town. Some towns had more liberal attitudes, and they'd let even white settlers who wanted to live among them,
Okay.
in their lifestyle, live like that. They lived in model and daub houses and had a big square, a public square, where, like I said, that they had communal
Yeah.
farming. There was actually a tithe that you had to give to families that couldn't or weren't able to make it through that year.
Cool. Yeah.
It was sort of like an ejido from like Latin American history, the communal farming that was incorporated into the Spanish system. But the choice here was really just to either continue that traditional way of life or to adopt a more
Yeah.
European style, American style settlement home. And this slow boiling tension really threatened the way of life for the Upper Creek especially. The Lower Creek, they traded for guns, bright fabrics, all kind of like modern goods, ammunition, beads that they couldn't get otherwise. And the Upper Creek got the guns and they received some of these goods. But what drove it was that the white demand for deer skin. So the Lower Creek went deer crazy and started encroaching on, everybody was hunting for deer.
Yeah.
And it started encroaching on other people's land, traditional hunting grounds, and
Call the game warden.
made that division between lower and upper into a real political division.
Fuck game wardens.
Yeah. Fuck the game warden.
For a long time, the towns that were at war were called red towns, and towns that were at peace were called white towns.
So that really gets into like it's Red Stick Creeks versus the White Stick Creeks.
Yeah, but I didn't realize that the name goes back much further.
Oh, okay. Oh, yes, that's what. Yeah, because yeah. This I'm getting into the 1800s, and
A lot of people use the term Creek Nation or the Creeks collectively, but it's really like more of each town. If you think like the Greek city-states, right? So like each town is its own political entity that's run by whoever is the most prominent figure from the right clan in that place.
Okay.
And then it's not a hereditary rule, but more of a meritocracy, right? But the units are so small that it's there's 60-something towns, and each town has maximum 300, 400 people in it. That it's sort of able to be managed in a direct democracy. I keep thinking of it sort of like as an anarchist collective,
Yeah.
right?
Like
Because-
communal anarchy.
And that's sort of the problem, is that because there's no central authority, it comes to be an issue later when William McIntosh, one of the White Stick Coeta, just signs away a bunch of land in the name of the nation.
Well, that's the problem with anarchy, is there is no centralized.
Let's disagree.
I'll give you some Lenin to read and make you one of us, Tyler. It's okay.
Anyway, there was a particular bad year, the Hungry
You'll be
Year.
a Maoist. You'll be the Maoist by the end of this podcast.
An 8-year drought between 1804 and 1812. The Hungry Year was 1807, and we don't really have like a problem with rivers flooding down here. We have some floodplains, but typically, especially up north, the rivers are like kind of steady year round, and then we get like a steady approximately 40 inches of rain around. So they're never worried about flooding, but drought is always an issue. And so this lack of food causes kind of like a moral panic, where a lot of the people that had adopted European ways would adopt them in such, they would let people go hungry, basically. And this is like the thing that kind of violated a Creek sense of morality, which said that you take care of people that are in your, you know what I mean, that your town, your.
You say that everyone has to pay like that tithe to help out families that can't.
Yeah, I mean, and it varies depending on what town you're in, because like I said, each little village is its own political entity, and they're often called tribes, but they're not a single family unit. But each one of these towns or whatever.
Which I was reading somewhere.
Sorry, I lost it.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
You have a
And
notepad
like
there.
the whole sense of family in those tribes back in the day, it's like you didn't just have the two-party household. You had more of the like it takes a village to raise a child. So like not one child would be like, what am I trying to say? Not one child would look at just one person as their mother, one person as their father. The whole village raised that child.
I mean, but yeah, and no doubt that there was what do you call them? Babushka, the woman that help you deliver, midwives,
Yeah.
and a network of family, whatever, to help you out.
I mean, Howard Zen talks about this when Columbus lands on Hispaniola. Like they're talking about like they don't understand how there's not the traditional family structure that white Christendom in Europe is used to. There's this collective like family unit, and they don't understand this. Like the white settler, Columbus and the white settlers like don't understand this. Like how is this? They don't understand this communal living. So then they take advantage of it and they do what they plunder and pillage and kill. And it's crazy how like you throughout history you see like the settlers show up and they just don't understand what's going on. So it's like let's just kill and enslave everybody. And it's just this colonialism just is the cornerstone to capitalism, and that's like how it was fueled. It was just like by just conquer and destroy and assimilate and just break down and anyone's culture to make them more like how we see white European culture.
Yeah.
It's fucking crazy.
In the name of progress.
In the name of Christ and progress, yeah.
Well, like I said, I mean, like there's obviously problems or whatever with some of the sexism in the Creek system before assimilation, but just the misunderstanding that whites didn't get that women did the agriculture work and men when they weren't in the town were like off trading as far away as Virginia. Mm-hmm. That there's connections that run as far away as the Great Lakes. And these people were, working too. They were hunting. That
that makes sense if if in these societies like the men are going to be the warriors, like to hone your tracking skills and your aim, and hunting is good practice for what the inevitable warfare that's going to happen.
But it's sort of the reverse in the old world, where the agriculture developed, right, and then like men took up agriculture and women gathered. You see what I'm saying? That or women stayed in the home.
So it's just like you could see kind of the commodification of these things and like how capitalism progresses to the point where I lost my train of thought. I don't even know.
I mean, definitely like with the deer skin, right? Is you see like what a lot of Creek would understand to be like a balance between like your consumption. The Creeks didn't have, like I said, a central theology or a holy text, but sort of like just an outlook. I mean, one of the things they believed was that everything had a spirit, right? It's sort of like a common thing among the Native Americans that if you killed a deer, then you would offer some kind of offering, either like a piece of good meat or like a bright bead or something like that to offset or to please the spirit of the deer so that you wouldn't, you know what I mean? Sort of just to even everything out.
Yeah.
And this idea that like, you adopt Christianity and all of a sudden deerskin turns into just a commodity that you consume as much as you can without any idea about the balance in the ecosystem.
So like the white settle,
you don't view at that point, like once you adopt Christianity, you're not viewing the animal as a spirit. It's just
An animal.
something god.
You're being
or whatever.
dragged into a much larger economic system that's taking those deer and shipping them to Charleston.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Because
we're not
it's turning
talking
their
about
culture.
like
It's turning what it's turning their culture into a commodity. So it's
Yeah.
basically saying that like how the Creeks used to do it, where they're would basically dear, I'm sorry I had to do this, but I got to feed my people, my family. Here's an offering, to please you or whatnot. And then capitalism comes in, white settlers come in, and they just like Tyler said, is like they see the deer as something that God put on this earth to be subservient to man and to nourish man. So we just kill willy nilly however we feel like it, and no one gives a shit.
I know it sounds funny, like deer could fuck up the Creek economy or whatever, but we're talking about 200,000 a year from this region in Georgia and Alabama, and this is at a time when there's maybe 20,000 Creek, total in these areas. It's just insane overkilling, and you can tell it really put a stress on the people and started this rift between what would
upper and
become
lower.
the red stick and the white stick.
Yeah.
So what really got it going was Tecumseh. And I should say that in the Creek political system, that you could beyond just being getting to be chief through war or success in war or whatever, that they valued oratory skill. That when Tecumseh, whose mother I think was from the Southeast Woodlands, he was a Shawnee, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So Tecumseh gives a speech in 1811 to the Creek National Council and calls on the Creek to listen to his brother, Tinsquatawa, and to reject European ways, to forget traditional rivalries, and to go back to or to go into a unified front. That all Native people should do what they can to resist white settlers.
Tecumseh started that Confederation up north, around Michigan, right? To try to fight and allied with the British to fight the Americans. Correct? Isn't that what did he actually lead?
I'm not sure what he led up there. I know that about him coming down south, and then his brother especially taking advantage of the comet. I think it was 1811 also. I have it down here somewhere.
Do you think General Sherman's parents made his middle name that on purpose?
No, they totally did. I was thinking about it on the way over here.
Yeah.
I forgot why they did it, but I know that they did.
What was his middle name?
William Tecumseh
Tecumseh.
Sherman.
Oh, sick.
I know, right?
So the Creek
Critical support. They say Stalin did nothing wrong, and I was between 1860 and 1865, William Tecumseh Sherman did nothing wrong. After 1865, it gets all those Union generals ended up just becoming just slaughtering indigenous folks as they move out west. But between 1860 and 1865, William Tecumseh Sherman did absolutely nothing wrong. He actually probably didn't go far enough.
Well, the
guarantee you didn't.
OG Tecumseh back in 1812.
Yeah.
His brother was a prophet, right? They called him the prophet. I think I said his name earlier, Tinsquatawa. And he took a bunch of holy men from the Creek and took them up to the Great Lakes region and taught them a bunch of magic, from what I read, and then prophesized with them and told them that if they united and fought against the white man, that the cannons would not hit them, that the Master of Breath would put an invisible wall that would protect them from being killed. So this guy, Hillis Hadjo, was a Red Stick prophet. He's called Francis the Prophet, I think, and other stuff. Peter McQueen, which is another just white as shit sounding name.
Yeah.
Peter McQueen was a Red Stick prophet. He was bad as shit. And then Kuseta Tuskanuge, I forget what he did. Anyway, they were all three of the big spiritual leaders of the movement.
The prophet,
the one that was shot in the face.
yeah, prophet. I'm gonna slaughter this name. I'm so sorry. Monahee.
No, I didn't get
Okay.
to him.
But thanks for spoiler alert.
Yeah.
So the one that really set it off was this land cessation that was made by chief of the Coweta. You know Coweta County, Georgia?
Yeah.
You just drove through it, I'd imagine, right?
Yeah.
So, Coweta County, Georgia is named after the Coweta people. It's just south of Atlanta. And William McIntosh there, it's another white-sounding name. A lot of these guys, because the Creek is a matrilineal system, they'll have Creek lineage, and they'll identify culturally, linguistically or whatever with the Creek, but they'll have their father's last name, and it's Scottish, so it sounds goofy as shit. So William McIntosh, who was known by his Creek name, Tuscanulge Hutke, which means white warrior.
Oh, hell yeah.
He signed away a bunch of land.
Ooh, that's not good, though.
East of the Chattahoochee River.
Way down yonder on the Chattahoochee.
I was thinking that Alan Jackson is actually the great-great-grandson of Andrew Jackson.
No, he's not, dude. Fuck off.
This is the culture that we slaughtered millions for.
Yeah.
That's fucking Alan Jackson.
Way down yonder on the Chattahoochee.
Man, she's hotter than a hoochie coochie.
Yeah.
I'm glad how no one said it when I did it, but then I have to back up Will. Appreciate it, guys.
It gets hotter than a hoochie coochie. Oh.
We laid rubber on that Georgia asphalt.
Why did you play it while we were marching through Georgia?
Got a little crazy, but we never got caught.
My boy.
Bring it old bugle boy, sing another song.
So that land cessation by McIntosh is what really caused Hotlapoya, but Menawa. He was born Hotlapoya, but Menawa.
Oh, okay.
Was it caused Menawa to really go off. And there was a small scale battle between the red stick, white stick. But Nelson's going to take us into the Battle of Horseshoe Bend, which is where the Creek Civil War really turned into a disaster as the Americans intervened.
It was absolutely fucking horrible. Do you have anything more like under the Creek Civil War? Is we going to lead into? Is that all you have, or am I going to talk about Horseshoe Bend? Or you got any more you want to talk about?
No, go on in.
Oh, so I'm good?
Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah.
You had 7 pages, you said. Your little handy-dandy notebook you got there.
He said he's fucking sure.
You got a point like Paulie.
This fucking guy.
Hey, Tom, do you think you sure? When I should whack that guy?
No, go right ahead, boy.
Well, a lot of this stuff I couldn't get to work in, right? I mean, but some of the stuff I found interesting. Wetumpka was a red stick town.
Yeah.
Okay. Some of the other, places. What is that?
Now Wetumpka's a Tea Party town.
Yeah. Now it's a white town.
Oh God. Wetumpka.
Tuskegee, red stick town. Okfuski, which is the one that Menawa was from, is just now buried under the Lake Martin, red stick town. And then Abika, which was North Alabama, made particularly good warriors. And then I found let white women join no problem.
Hell yeah.
So the lower creek towns, of course, Apalachicola, Coweta, the Chattahoochee, the Oconee, who are Georgia, South Carolina area, and then of course our porch band of Creek Indians fought alongside Andrew Jackson against their brothers.
Oh God. They want to take over the lottery system. Did you see that? Did you read that article?
Yeah. Oh,
I mean, for real, I think that we should just let them do whatever. They should just get like a 200-year exemption.
I'm totally down for letting them have blackjack and the car games that they want to have. Like, I don't care, man. Let them do what they want. And white folks are like, they should pay taxes.
I've seen those ads now.
I'm like, y'all, come on. Like, really? It's federal land. It's their land. They don't have to pay state taxes.
The casino is not a pretty sight. But those fucking cigarette prices.
I know, right?
Balling, right?
It's worth the drive.
That's why I watched the Pacquiao Mayweather fight is at the casino. They had a great setup. It was great. That fight was garbage, but the setup was great. So you sure you're good, Will? You good, Tom?
Once again, he said he was fucking sure.
You fucking sure?
3 times.
He's flipping through his notepad like he's not. Like he's a fucking journalist, and he's trying to get a... I don't know what the fuck he's doing.
Yeah, I'm good.
Will needs to be a professor. If Will doesn't become a professor, then there's something wrong with the world. You know how I know personally that America's college education system is fucked beyond belief is that Will doesn't already have a PhD.
Oh, that's bullshit.
You should. Oh shit! I just almost broke these fucking headphones. Will should definitely have an advanced degree by now.
They need to give me money. I need to fill out the forms.
They should give you a fucking scholarship.
I have an associate.
So we all have like different levels. So there we go. Yeah, but you make the most money out of all of us.
I saw opportunities and I took it.
You have an actual like trade.
Yeah.
You make people
Yeah,
happy.
the man learned to trade.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You learn to trade.
Waiting tables? Or playing
Making
guitar?
terrible fucking
God,
punk.
it's just horrible music. It's so horrible. I don't even like listening to myself. I'm just like a knockoff Phil Oaks sometimes. All right, so I'm going to do a battlefield analysis, basically, of the Battle of Horseshoe Bend, which is, like I said, an hour and 30 north of here. This is a nice, really nice drive in Dadeville. This is an actual phone number, okay? Because what I really liked about the whole, I have to say, like the park is beautiful, and they really did it right. The visitor center was very nice. Definitely 5-star Yelp review. Anyone who wants to, they have a phone tour. So when you go to eat, the thing's like 6 stops, right? So at each thing you on your phone, you dial the number, then you type whatever, you punch in what number you're at, and they tell you a story about what happened at this particular site. So for those listening, if you want to dial, what?
My bad.
If you want to dial 256, I'm sorry, I got to stop laughing. 256-212-8099. I promise you, it's like, I understand our generation gets anxiety talking on the phone. You're not going to talk to a person. It's going to be a pre-recorded message. Key number 1 doesn't work. It's like an intro, and then you go into 2.
Is that how they hear the government's history?
Let's say what? That's the battlefield history.
I saw those. I know, but I saw those pictures that you took, and it talked about the defeat of Creek Power.
I mean, obviously, it's going to be skewed towards. I mean, they do as good of a job as you would expect. Maybe even a little bit better of like really trying to talk about like the history and how brutal the white forces were against the white settler American forces, I should say. The white settler forces were against the Creeks. Anyway, so the Battle of Horseshoe Bend, right? So, battle is March 27th, 1814. It's during the War of 1812. So the War of 1812 is raging on in the background while this is happening. And so, and it's U.S. Major General Andrew Jackson of the Tennessee militia, right? Is the one in charge. So him and the Cherokee and Creek allies, the Tennessee militia, and the U.S. 39th Regiment are taking on the Red Stick Upper Creeks. And the Lower Creeks are, like I said, aligned with the Cherokee tribes and the white folks. So this is a war really against white settlement, whereas the Upper Creeks, like Will stated, wanted war, and the Lower Creeks wanted moderation, more like assimilation. They're definitely more assimilated into white culture, it seemed like, and that's why they kind of pushed for, we should just be moderate when it comes to this and just like accept what's going to happen. Not really like accept, but like not fighting more radical than the upper. It's like if you think of, yeah, never mind. So it's that perspective. Like the Red Sticks wanted war. Like we need to go back to our ways. We need to force. Like what Tecumseh was saying. Like get these white folks off our fucking land.
I mean, I think it goes back to how much of it was a religious thing that it really was to restore balance.
Yeah. I think that's they talk about that in the intro. Like Tecumseh coming down and like talking to them was like the major thing that like pushed it. So it really kicks off. So this is another. I really hope I don't want to slaughter this. I feel really bad slaughtering these names because I want to get them right. Nuyaka village is a Red Stick village. So in 1777, it had 85 huts, and they had to move from West Georgia because of white encroachment. So on December 17th, 1813, it's attacked by David Allen and the Georgia militia, and that's when they moved to Hopeka, which is the village that was the Red Sticks were defending.
That's in the Bend.
That's in the Bend.
Horseshoe
Yes.
Bend.
So lead up to this, you have the Mississippi militia in being really afraid of Red Stick encroachment, not necessarily the white folks are encroaching on the Red Sticks, so they're afraid of the Red Sticks basically and what the Red Sticks are doing. They're like fearful white folks with guns, basically how Mississippi still is, and they raid a Red Stick supply line at the Battle of Burnt Corn. Now they raid the supply line. I think if I read right, the Creeks retreated, and then they counterattacked I think they ended up getting their supplies back and like making their way to where they needed to go.
They were trying to get to Pensacola to the Spanish.
They'd gotten the supplies from the Spanish. That's what they were doing. They were heading back, and that's when it happened. The Red Sticks retaliated with the what we call the Fort Mims massacre. And so the Red Sticks raided Fort Mims and killed 250 people, and that really was like the clutching at pearls. Like, oh my God, what did they do? Not even like looking at the fact that like we're on their land to begin with. They're defending their own. So this is their territory.
Ties into another thing that maybe I skipped over. But there was, because the Creeks operate under this kind of like loose confederation, basically an anarchy system. Mm-hmm. There is no real central authority to enforce laws except for the blood law, which is to restore balance. If someone in your group, family, tribe, town is killed, then you have the authority to kill any person from the other, offending party. So this idea that you would forgive it or whatever is not so. I mean, vengeance, people write about in their own time. There's this one guy, Hawkins, I came across, who lived among the Creek in like the 1810s. And I mean, still like pretty racist white, right? But like probably knew them better than anybody, writing in English at that time. And he writes about how their capacity for vengeance is unreal, to travel across the whole country to avenge, the murder of someone that they loved. So the Fort Mims massacre is plays into that as I think there was a death in the hunting party.
I can't remember if anyone died in the Battle of Burnt Corn. I'd have to look. You everyone at home obviously can look it up. I don't know if I looked at it Wikipedia, and then I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go to the Horseshoe Bend battlefield, and that's basically kind of all they mentioned about it was this brief little overview.
What I'm saying is that Fort Mims then becomes a duty.
Oh, okay.
To
avenge.
I
know. Yeah. White folks are like, oh, we gotta avenge the Fort Mims massacre. This is horrible. This is bad, because it leads to 6 months of fighting. Like between white folks and the Red Sticks, with nothing happened. Like
you can see how that blood guilt stuff would spiral out of control.
Yeah, exactly. So it continues with no fight. So then with no victory. So they're fighting for 6 months, no victory. Then Andrew Jackson is called in with 3,300 troops. So 3,300 troops. Like I said, the Tennessee militia and the 39th U.S. Regiment come down to Tohopka. So they've cornered basically at this point the Red Stick tribe into Tohopka on this peninsula, which basically what happens is that it's surrounded on 3/4 by the Tallapoosa River.
Yeah.
And then they built a wall, an earthen fortification. Menawa is the leader of the Red Sticks. Like, they orders his men to build this massive, massive wall that's better than any shit that Trump ever wanted to build, and to block the white folks from getting in. And it's so Jackson describes it as it's 8 rows deep. This is a massive, I think it's like 1,000 yards long. Like it's from one riverbank to the other. I'm not like,
Yeah, you came unplugged there.
Oh, it came unplugged. So it's a massive, massive fortification. And so basically, Jackson has his men set up 2 cannons on what they like the cannon top area, and basically he has a 3-pounder and a 3-pounder and a 6-pounder cannon. So when you go to the battlefield, right, it's up on top of like this plateau looking down, and so he's having the cannon shoot down at this wall, and they fired 70 rounds for 2 hours, and it did absolutely nothing. This earthen wall just was not touched by these cannons, like 3-pounder and 6-pounder. It did absolutely nothing to hurt this wall. So, so Jackson has General Coffee and 1,300 men, 500 of which are Creeks, and 100 of which are 500 of which are Cherokee, and 100 are Lower Creek, so White Sticks. So the Cherokee warrior Whale basically is afraid that his troops won't attack because of the cannon fire. That's just something they mentioned. So they're behind.
Yeah.
So they've gone behind, but the river's there. So they're behind the battlefield, and the Tallapoosa River's in the way. So Whale and 2 or 3 others swim across and steal the canoes, and they start ferrying. They ferry men over to the other side.
Yeah.
Exactly. So they ferried Creek and Cherokee warriors aside. So also Whale had a horrible like shoulder injury. Apparently this is going on. So he's like his shoulder's like wrecked, and he's ferrying all these Creek and Cherokee warriors across the river. Whale is the one who orders the village to be burned. So Whale orders Tohopka to be burned to the ground. For his actions, he's rewarded with a silver inlaid musket from President Adams. So I like to you hear that?
Yeah.
They gonna pick him up, truck outside, roll tide. I like to picture like Andrew Adams as Paul Giamatti. It's like Paul Giamatti is like has this rifle, and I can't really think of how Paul Giamatti sounds. So, Will, you do really good impressions.
No.
You don't do Paul Giamatti?
No.
Well, I got this musket here. I can't. Fuck it. I can't do Paul Giamatti.
It's close enough.
It's close enough. But the thing is like no one knows if he actually got it or not. If he actually received the musket that he was supposed to get. But there's 2 of them were made, and one's on display at the visitor center. Whale had a lot of regret about this after what ended up happening with the Trail of Tears.
He should have put that fucking musket in his mouth.
As a traitor.
It's kind of clunky.
Yeah.
But so Jackson sees this. Jackson sees the smoke from the village, and he realizes what's going on. So that happened at 10 a.m. when he started ferrying people across. So at 12:30 p.m., Jackson orders his troops to charge. So 600 out of the 2,000 that are left are Tennessee militia. The rest are 39th Infantry. So one militiaman, John Reed, is quoted as saying that the quotes. Wasn't able to jot it down because they speak pretty quickly on the phone tour, but it's basically about fear. How the fear that they had trying to scale this wall and fight, because it ended up being hand-to-hand combat for 20 minutes, like fierce, in-your-face, hand-to-hand combat. Major Montgomery is one of the first ones over. He's 27. He is shot in the head from across the map, no scope headshot, and he fucking goes down. He's done. Sam Houston at 21 years old is there. So Sam Houston, who goes on to be he's the governor of 2 states. He ends up being the governor of Tennessee, and then later Texas when Texas becomes a state. He is the only person to ever be governor of 2 different states.
Yep.
So he has a thigh injury and a shoulder injury. He's like injured very badly during the during the battle. So apparently, because of the village burning, like the village wasn't guarded. It's mostly women and children.
Yeah.
So the village was not really guarded. All the men were at the front fighting. So the Red Sticks obviously had to retreat back to the village, and so they're able to breach the wall. Basically, the white forces. 577 Creek warriors dead. Prophet Monahee is shot in the mouth with a grape shot. That was one of the most noted people of the Creek Nation.
You say a grape shot?
Yeah.
Yeah, grape shot.
Explain that.
It's like a bunch of grapes. Yeah, it's a shotgun for a cannon.
Yeah.
Ah.
No, it's nasty. Anti-personnel.
It's nasty shit.
So that took him out, didn't it?
Yeah.
Probably blew his head clean off. Probably blew his
Fucking
jaw.
A.
There's probably just one of the grape shot that got him.
Probably, and it still probably blew his jaw off. Like it's bad. It is a nasty, disgusting. It's a horrible way to go. But 49 U.S. troops were killed. Jackson ordered the U.S. troops to be dumped in the river to avoid desecration. So he was afraid that they were going to get scalped, I guess.
They probably would have.
They probably would have, which they should have been. And the creeks were left to basically rot. So the 577 that died on the battlefield, he just left them there to rot. While this is happening, this is the really fucked up thing, and Will, I told you about this, is that there's an island in the middle of the Tallapoosa River, and Jackson was afraid, and General Coffee feared that the Red Sticks would use this island during retreat. They'd take refuge on the island away from and then regroup and then go across the river again and hide from the army. So General Coffee orders Lieutenant Jesse Bean and 40 men to stand on the banks of this island. Or no, it's like you see the island and they're on the I can't remember what they said. I can't remember if they were, I don't know if the U.S. troops were on the island shooting or if they were on the banks so they could see them as they crossed
Yeah.
the island, pick and shoot. I don't say pick them off, but shoot them that way. It's so bad that they said the 40 men used the term sunk, so they sunk Red Stick Creeks. That's how badly
Yee.
they went down. Lieutenant Alex Cullis said that the river should have been called Blood River because there was so much blood that the water could not have been used.
Shit.
The Talbis River is up to 30 feet deep and 100 yards across. And it's very calm on the top, but the undertow is very strong. So 250 to 300 were killed in the river. Those 40 men killed about 250 to 300 Red Sticks as they tried to retreat, which today we know is a war crime. You can't shoot retreating armies in retreat. But back then, it's just, they didn't give a shit. So yeah, the 40 men under Jesse Bean killed 250 to 300 Creeks as they tried to escape to that island. Major Montgomery is the only one buried at the battlefield. This is kind of crazy. The only reason they knew it was Major Montgomery after the battle, like years later, is that in 1839, a Black Tennessee militia musician remembered that they buried Major Montgomery there, and then he identified the burial remains and everything, and so he was moved, and then he was buried again in the park, I believe, in the 1970s. I think it was much later on. Like he was moved somewhere, and then they moved him back to the park. So Tahopka was a refugee village, actually, from what we were saying, from what you were saying before, Will, and then from what I said about Nuaka. And so the village, between 1813 and 1814, about 300 homes for 1,350 people. So it's 1,350 people that live in Tahopka. It's like basically what they called it is a refugee village. And the Cherokees burned it to the ground. The ones that crossed over.
It should be that's very large.
That's huge.
Yeah.
It's massive. Like you look at it, like they have there's trees. They have like rows of trees there now, but like you look out over it and you can just imagine like all these huts that were there, and because they said that they were put together pretty quickly, and they had you said the men were out hunting and foraging, and the women were the ones that did the crops and whatnot. But it's this massive fucking refugee village that they fucking burned to the fucking ground, and 350 women and children are taken prisoner. And in August 1814, Red Stick leader William Rutherford turns himself in at Fort Jackson. This is after, obviously, they're defeated at Horseshoe Bend. The ones that got away get away. Menawa was gravely injured, but he survived. Like I said, William Rutherford turns himself in to Fort Jackson, Fort Toulouse, and Wetumpka. We've all been there.
Menawa pretended to be dead on the field.
Oh, he did?
Until nightfall, yeah.
Shit.
He laid there.
Wow. And then there's this quote. It's not a direct quote because I couldn't remember the actual direct quote, but basically Rutherford says, "I fought them as long as I could, wherever I could. If I had an army still, I'd keep fighting." So when he turned himself in, that was basically what he said. They had to cede 23 million acres to the United States, which now filled in the rest of Georgia and made the state of Alabama, basically.
Fucking hell.
They named Coffee County after coffee.
Montgomery after Montgomery.
No, the city and the
No.
county are named after two different people,
Oh, really?
which is dumb as shit. It's my favorite fact.
The entire fucking tri.
And then the other Montgomery is the one that tried to invade Canada and lost. Tough guy now, aren't you?
So Jackson, for his efforts, is promoted to General of the United States Army. So he's the leader of the U.S. Army.
Oh, this just skyrockets him.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
Battle of New Orleans too. So it's the Battle of New Orleans, the Battle of Horseshoe Bend. He becomes president in 1829, 1830. You have the Indian Removal Act and the Trail of Tears. So Menawa in 1826 goes to Washington for treaty negotiations. He's eventually exiled to Oklahoma, and he's never ever heard from again. They don't know what happened to him.
We have an
Yeah.
Alabama language, and it's spoken by about 50 people, and they all live
wow.
in Oklahoma.
Fuck it.
So he, if you dial the number and you listen to the entire tour at the very end, he has a quote about sadness and he'll never be able to look upon any land the way the sun set on, or the way the sunlight hit the land that he was from,
Yeah.
and how having to live in Oklahoma now is bullshit. So that's basically what I have when it comes to the Battle of Horseshoe Bend. And
Oklahoma is bullshit. I wouldn't want to live
Yeah.
anywhere but the Southeast.
really,
Yeah, really.
Yeah, I'm not. Nobody wants to be an Okie.
No.
I don't want to fucking live
Even
in the
that song was
Southeast.
written in jest.
Yeah. That was a satire song. People don't know that about
What?
Merle Haggard.
I'm
Okie from
proud
Muskogee.
to be an
Yeah, that-
Okie from
That's
Muskogee.
satire. Now he did
There
lean.
you go, Muskogee.
He did lean pretty far right,
No, but he was smoking weed, laughing his ass off
yeah.
the whole time.
but he also did tell David Duke to go fuck himself.
That is pretty
So-
awesome. No, that's why. That's why I love. I really, when we do more political stuff, like talking about Southern politicians, I love Huey Long, because Huey Long at like one of like point of the height of the Klan era, like in the early 30s. Well, they in the South at least. He, the leader of the Klan at that time, I forgot his name, said that Huey Long basically called him a communist. And he was like, un-American activities, all this other shit. And Huey Long says, and I quote, I remember this quote, "Mark my words, that imperial bastard will never step foot in Louisiana. And when I call him a son of a bitch, I'm not using profanity, but referring to the circumstances of his birth." To the head, as governor of Louisiana, says that about the head of the Ku Klux Klan. No, as senator from Louisiana, he says that as fucking the head of the Ku Klux Klan.
All right.
So Tyler, gonna kick it off with
I'm gonna get
the
into
most depressing fucking part of this podcast.
Yeah, let's get into chicken fried Hitler.
Oh, real quick. I do. What did I say? Under Commander Commander Jackson, that fucking Nazi.
Yeah.
But I do have to say that when just going to the battlefield itself, like walking it a bit, like it's very peaceful, it's very calm, and it's very quiet, and it's you get like this overwhelming kind of, not overwhelming, but like you feel like this the sadness to it. And like I know this may sound corny, but while I was there, like just looking at, like no one was there. There's like three other boomers that were ahead of me, like doing there's like another family having a picnic, but at this one stop it was just me, and it was where Bean and his men shot 250, 300 people as they're trying to retreat, and I just like stood there, and it's just so quiet, and you like see the water going, and it's just I said to myself, like, I'm sorry for what we did here, like this is bullshit.
Yeah. And you mentioned in the last podcast, but right now, like, we're recording on fucking stolen land.
Yeah, we're gonna. I want to make sure that like we say that every episode, like in the outro. Make sure I keep saying it, because like no one really thinks of that. Like I listen to other podcasts and no one really like mentions that they're.
No, we tell him because high school football team is the fucking Indians.
Yeah.
And I passed the Real Town Rebels on the way. I guess they're still the Rebels, but I was like, oh my god, here we go.
Well,
Anyway, Tyler, you wanna?
Yeah, let's get into the Trail of Tears, or the Indian Removal Act. The Indian Removal Act was a law passed in 1830 by Congress to remove Native American tribes in the southeast United States from their land to federal land west of the Mississippi and Oklahoma. The 5 tribes, referred to as the 5 civilized tribes, who had adopted some culture of the colonial settlers along with several other native groups, were forced to abandon their traditional homelands. Oh yeah, it's rough. This is probably second to slavery, in my opinion, the darkest.
They're definitely
Like,
up there. Two of the worst things that we ever fucking did was slavery and treatment of the Indian
Until after
folks.
the fact, it wasn't referred to as the Trail of Tears. It was actually an Alabama newspaper where a Cherokee descendant was talking about it, and then like he referred to it. He's like, "Yeah, it was the Trail of Tears."
Wow.
This movement, like them moving from their land to this federal land, 1/4 of all the Indian population died on this travel. Like they had it was during the winter, so they
Yeah.
contracted the whooping cough and a bunch of other diseases. It was rough, but let's see.
So like basically just deadly like
Just a death
like
march.
tuberculosis.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a death march
Yeah.
is what it was. Do you know how many did they say how many the numerical
yeah, I got it
oh,
right.
okay,
here.
yeah.
Let's see.
Tyler's the only one in the 21st century doing this off his phone. And yes, for people at home, we do know how to read.
10,000 Native Americans died on the Trail of Tears.
Oh my holy shit. Wow.
Yeah. Let's see. The Indian Removal Act, it was passed in 1930,
Yeah.
but plans for, and this is a quote, forced relocation began in the early 1800s.
Jesus Christ.
And what really helped like catapult this to getting passed was they discovered fucking gold in Georgia. And you know, us white folks, we
Love gold.
We love to
We take
take
that.
land and line our pockets. So like that was it. And plus the South was so just rich in cotton and agriculture that
What the hell, Will?
My fault.
but yeah,
Just put 'em in the
It was
chair.
passed on May 26, 1830. And Jackson was, by the time this was passed, Jackson was president. He put
Yeah.
this into place. Like this is his baby.
Is this the one where he didn't I guess when Will comes back he probably knows more about it. Is this the one where Jackson says, you know, the Supreme Court made their ruling, I'll let them enforce it? Didn't the indigenous folks like take this to the Supreme Court?
Yeah. They
And they won.
a couple. Well, they weren't represented like directly. They picked like more. They picked Indians who were more into like European culture.
Well, this is the one, right?
This is the one where they took it to court, and you know they didn't. The people representing them didn't fight
yeah.
like they should have for them.
But they ended up winning though. They technically won the. Well, see, you're back now. Wherever the hell you went.
Yeah, I'm back.
But no, this is the one where Jackson says they made the ruling and let them enforce it. Correct?
Yeah.
And then they still get forced off their land.
Yeah.
Even though they won the court case.
That's why Trump loves him. That's what the relevancy that this has to, modern day or whatever is that, people that sign on to Jackson or want to preserve his legacy, they're doing so like purposefully, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this is like a specific thing that they want to remember. This is white supremacy.
He's he is like the pinnacle of American white supremacy, is Andrew Jackson.
He's the most explicit. What do they call it? He turns the White House into a people's house. I always say, no, Trump likes him so much because they're both married to whores.
Oh my God.
That's a history joke.
I guess we'll leave that in.
There were 60 treaties signed during this, and let's see, they considered the removal to be voluntary, and when it wasn't voluntary, they were removed by force, and the whole area, the South, Florida, all that. Mm-hmm. It was so rich in agriculture and so easy for the Indians to live there. Oklahoma doesn't have that shit.
Yeah.
Oklahoma's near fucking barren. And, once they got out to Oklahoma, kind of got their bearings, here we come again saying, oh, Oklahoma's a state now. We need this. Pushing them further into either Washington, some went out to Reno and Nevada and all that. And there's not shit out there at all. There's no farmland, barely any fucking game. Like it's rough. Let's see. And between 1830 and 1840, roughly 60,000 Native Americans were forced from their homelands in the South to the land of the West Mississippi.
Jesus. So how would you say 60?
Yeah, 60,000.
So 10,000 died out of the 60. Oh my God.
It's genocide.
Yeah.
It is a genocide. It's
Yeah.
a genocide of the indigenous population. It's a death march. There's no difference between what the Nazis did to the Jews when they forced them on death marches, or the Bataan death march, as we call in the Philippines, and then what we did to the Native Americans.
Yeah. I don't.
And this is fueled by capitalist expansion. We wanted their land specifically, like Tyler said, because of gold and because of cotton, because to expand enterprise into the South, agricultural enterprise, fueled by banks in the North.
I mean, yeah, what really, boomed the expansion into the plains of Alabama or whatever is that people saw the value in cotton.
Yeah.
And all this hunting land got turned into cotton plantation. How many acres of forest were cut down to be turned into cotton plantation?
And we used Native American slaves, and then when we killed them off or forced them off the land, we had to start the African slave trade.
Out of roughly 5 billion people who live in America.
What? Oh, yeah.
It's like 4.8 something billion people in America.
6. Oh, no. In America? No, it's only like 3. Wait,
No. What year?
no, what year?
2018.
You're saying billion.
No, I'm talking about like right now
You mean the world or just...
in America.
America's like, what, 350 million?
330.
330
Okay.
million. Why? No, you meant for the
I
world.
probably got that wrong.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Only 5 million of them are Native American. Like,
Oh, okay. Out of the 330 million, only 5. Oh,
Yeah.
Holy shit. They originally made up all of America.
yeah.
Jesus.
It's funny when people say oh, I'm a Cherokee or Creek. My grandmother was a Cherokee or Creek princess or whatever. Is they didn't have royalty at all.
No. And then the same people will turn around and call fucking Elizabeth Warren Pocahontas and all that.
Oh, my
Yep.
God.
Which is, just she did fucking.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
stupid
yeah.
fucking 23andMe bullshit.
God, that was so awful.
I love how I'm glad people call. I'm glad that the indigenous tribes called her ass out on that. They're like, "You're not one of us."
You can tell that I'm 1/4 Cherokee because my skull calipers measure out to
Oh my
X statistic.
What is that called again?
Okay, boomer.
Oh, phrenology?
Oh, phrenology? Yeah, it's phrenology.
No.
Okay, boomer. It's phrenology, isn't it?
No, phrenology is knowing what parts of the brain do what.
What was that racist eugenic shit where they fucking measured noses and skulls?
Maybe it was phrenology.
It is phrenology. It has to be. I don't know. Anyway, we gotta really... God, why are our topics so fucking depressing?
Yeah, I thought
We get to pick them.
Yeah, I thought
That is true.
I thought this next one was gonna be a lighthearted one, but yeah, you shit all over that, Nelson.
Earlier, did you say that there was a General Coffee and a Lieutenant Bean?
Holy shit, you're right. There was a General Coffee and Lieutenant Bean.
I mean, I didn't want to just
Illuminati confirmed.
thunder in with that when you're talking
And there's
about
probably like a
war
corporal,
crime.
There's
But
probably a Corporal Folgers
yeah, right.
and fucking General Coffee, and then fucking Jesse Bean. Bunch of fucking assholes is what they were.
I want to shout out Bill Miller, who is a Native American folk singer / it's kind of country. I was listening to a little bit of his music getting ready for the podcast, and I found a verse from his song Tumbleweed, and I wanted to share it. It was really good. It's like, the Homestead Act and the Dust Bowl, everybody paid the cost. And the Great White Father promised to treat us, his children, all the same, back when Indian Territory was Oklahoma's name. Fucking hell.
What's the name of that song?
That is Tumbleweed by Bill Miller.
Hell yeah.
And he's like...
Maybe we'll put some of that at the end of the podcast. No, I don't think you get.
No.
You still alive?
Yes.
I don't think you get mad. We edit it. We'll edit that in there.
Copyright. I mean, no. We can quote all day.
No, I mean, I put it in as outro music. Put a little bit in there. I mean, I don't think you'll get mad. No one's gonna say anything.
Yeah.
Don't say anything. Don't snitch.
Here's a cool Waylon Jennings lyric that deals
Death
with
is a Confederacy.
the Native Americans, and some of this terminology, and this is a little outdated and probably not as socially acceptable.
Mm-hmm.
But and my brothers are all black and white, yellow too, and the red man is right to expect a little from you. Promise, then follow through, America.
Mm.
And that's from Waylon Jennings' song America.
Oh, okay. Well, wasn't there something recently where one indigenous tribe, in the treaty, they were supposed to get congressional representation, and they're trying to get that actual seat in Congress. I was reading something about that recently.
I don't know. I hadn't heard.
Oh, if you haven't heard, then I might. This is some Mandela effect shit.
No.
It didn't happen. Then Will doesn't know it didn't happen.
Bullshit.
I wish we could leak that Onion article, but about the Redskin football team.
What,
Oh,
the Washington Kikes?
No, it was the Caucasians, wasn't it?
Oh, the fighting whites.
Where the fuck do you find this shit? Where do you come off?
No, I'm talking about the one about the Washington Redskins Jewish owner not finding the Redskin name offensive.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
There were some choice words in there.
Oh yeah.
Dana, Dana, I forget his name.
We're just gonna have a premium account, and Will's just gonna like talk about all like the fucked up jokes that he knows. We're gonna get canceled after. I'm just waiting for us to get popular and then get canceled.
Yeah, so
I haven't said anything yet.
Yeah, no.
What was the joke though? I don't know if I'm gonna cut that out or not. The married to. Oh my god! I don't want to say it.
What?
What'd you say? Why did people like Trump and Andrew Jackson?
Oh, because there's so many similarities. They're both racist. They're both nationalists. They both view themselves as like populists who turn the White House into the people's house, and they're both married to whores. So the joke is that like Andrew Jackson was accused of like bigamy or whatever because his second wife Rachel, she was like married to another man or something like that. I forget.
I thought that was Thomas Jefferson.
But he rescued her. Quoting, you can't.
Oh, I thought that was Jefferson.
No, that's Jackson.
No, it was
I could have
Jackson.
sworn it was Jefferson.
Where's the lie?
Yeah. Oh Lord. The views expressed by Brother William are not those expressed by the podcast.
Be best.
I agree.
Anyway, so we good? Does anyone else got any final thoughts? Kill all the white man.
Yeah, I would normally ask like with the last one, like, what can we do to change these things? But
I mean, they teach Alabama history in 4th grade. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's across most curriculums. They teach state history, but they just ought to do a better job. I mean, they just ought to tell like the brutal truth, and then give you some heroes on the other side.
But I'll tell you what you can do to combat this. Next time you're at a festival, you see someone in an Indian headband,
fucking rip that shit off.
sock them in their fucking mouth.
Unless they're actually an indigenous person, like make sure you check. Make sure it's like Becky from fucking Iowa or fucking Chad from goddamn.
You're gonna hit somebody that turn around and be like, "Well, I'm Chief Red Claw."
Oh my god, I'd fucking just end it right there. I mean, I personally think that along with slavery, there needs to be reparations. Like there needs to be reparations to the African American community, descendants of slaves, and also needs reparations to the indigenous folks. I mean, when I was in Australia, they had the whole they had the Reconciliation Day, so they have a day that the racists say it's like I'm sorry day, but like that probably needs to happen, something like that. We need to formally recognize it. We did it. I don't even think we need to do it.
No, like, and this is
on the floor,
thing,
like no president in the floor, like the State of the Union or like addressing the nation has ever been like, we are sorry for.
Like a lot of this shit was completely skipped over in my school.
Yeah.
Like it was.
I mean, they also told us it was the War of Northern Aggression, and like, it wasn't about. So it was about states' rights.
It's just that ever since the revolution, the army is always on the good side or whatever. Okay. And this is one where you can really look at it and go, "No, man."
No.
But I think that they should honor treaties. Is what they need to start doing. Like honor the treaties. If they get, so I think they should have representation in Congress. I think that they should have autonomy over land. I think they should be giving back more land and giving more autonomy over what they have. They need representation in Congress. They need
exemption from all laws.
Restore this country to anarchy.
Shut up! The fucking
it really was how it failed, though, because no one there was no central authority. There was no one that could deny.
Okay. This isn't pros of the round table. We're not going to get into an ideological discussion. Even though I agree with you, Will, that's the tenet problem with anarchism. There's no fucking structure. But yeah. Anyway, on that note, at Dixieland, the proletariat, we believe the South will rise again, but this time for the right reasons. Those being workers-owned media production, decolonization, and self-determination for all oppressed peoples. We are coming to you from the heart of Dixie, Montgomery, Alabama. We also like to recognize that we're recording on occupied land that rightfully belongs to the Muskogee folks and their people and their nation. And that is definitely something that needs to... I'm glad we we did that in the first episode, but after this episode, definitely need to.
It is a nice touch.
War Eagle.
Yeah. Also,
Eagle.
just a point. Shut up. Oh my God.
Tigers solidarity, bro.
Critical support for LSU. I just want to see Alabama play Oklahoma is what I really want to see. But just a side note, we did shorten the commentary that you heard on the first episode with Tyler and Will about the intro music. And then the final intro music was cut a lot. So it definitely cut out a lot of Dixie and just had like the look away part into the international. That's probably how you heard the intro music in the first episode and what the intro music is in this episode is probably what's gonna be the intro music until someone comes up with something better. I mean, I'm not gonna use one of my songs. It's just too corny. But like until someone wants to send us a beat like overlaid whatever. So it's like some Chapo Trap House or Pros Round Table work, really good intro music type shit, and we're just gonna be stuck with that. But yeah, I'm Nelson, joined by brother William and Tyler, and we have a special message from our show's main sponsor for this episode, the Democratic People's Republic of the DPRK wants to give us a shout out real quick, so we're gonna have a representative from the DPRK.
This is amazing. This man just flew in today.
Exactly from Pyongyang. So here you go, sir.
조선민주주의 인공왕국 대한민국이 최고입니다.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
All right. Well, good Lord willing and the creek don't rise. We'll see y'all in a few weeks.
Roll Tide. Raise hell.
Praise Dale.
Burn down Applebee's.
And there's no... I don't forgot. Fucking...
You lost it.
Lost it.
Roll Tide. All right,
Take a
guys.
cigarette.
See you next time.